Good evening, folks, and welcome to Here's the Deal with Luke and Shilo. I'm Shilo, and I'm here with everybody's favorite barber rancher guy, Mr. Luke Simons. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Shilo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I was waiting
Good.
for the I'm doing good and doing gooder. Now
Well,
you
I
can
am
say
doing good.
I'm
I just assumed everybody would know that.
doing.
I'll tell you something a pastor friend of mine used to tell me all the time. I've never had a bad day given to me, but I've sure ruined a few of them. And that's true.
Fair enough.
80% of the things that we do, uh, no, excuse me, 20% of the things that we do are out of our
Hmm.
control. 80% of the things that we do, it's just how we handle what comes to us. And that's
Yep,
usually the truth.
I hear you there. Well, so
Well,
we took. Go ahead. I was gonna
no,
say
go ahead.
we took last week off. We were both fairly busy and doing other things and tending to other things. And so this week we got a little bit of catch up to do. I guess the big thing, I guess, going on in the news right now is concerning our North Dakota governor possibly running for president.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then go
he was
ahead.
just he was just in Nevada, as everyone probably knows by now. Campaigning is what he was doing. He was putting his feet in the water to see what people thought. And I mean, you think about it, it's a brilliant move on his part. Well, Bill Gates' part,
Mhm.
and that's exactly what he's doing.
So I heard a little bit about what you were talking about the other day when you did a live, and my first thing is because I started getting messages about this when it was announced that he was going to be in Nevada for a meet and greet, and then I do believe that he was in Iowa as well. After that, and so I started getting these messages, and I was like, is this just because they're like, yo, he's running for president, and I'm like, well, is this actually confirmed, or is this people assuming this, or whatever? And I guess that was my first reaction, but um, after I kind of thought about it a little bit, I'm like, well, if he is, in my opinion, it's not to be taken lightly. And the reason why I say that is obviously Bill Gates is behind him, but not just Bill Gates. I mean, we got guys like Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, coming to our state because about this Bitcoin mining and all of that good stuff. So there's people like that that are really backing him as well. And so, in my opinion, this should not be taken lightly, whether we think it's
Right.
far fetched or not. I do believe this is something that should be taken seriously because he's got some heavy hitters behind him.
That is true.
What
That
was
is
your
very
reaction? What was your first reaction?
well. So those of us in the political arena when we were in the legislature, we had sneaking suspicions for a long time that we thought Governor Burgum wanted to be the the president of the United States someday. And it's interesting because a prophet in his own town isn't listening to anybody. And we look at, I mean, we have to remember we're insulated and we are conservative. So Doug Burgum doesn't carry much weight to us. But the truth is people are watching what North Dakota has been doing fiscally for a long time. I mean, you can't take credit for the rain, but Republicans are taking credit because of the oil that are here in our community. So people are, let's face it, Doug Burgum, Governor Doug Burgum, has been on the radar of many, many people for a long time. That's the
Yeah.
facts of it.
So let's just say we get to the point where the nomination is going to come down. What do you think that looks like? Let's put him in that realm with DeSantis and former President Donald Trump. What does that what does that look like in Luke Simon's eyes?
Well, I think Donald Trump would eat him alive. Um, Obviously, I think that
Mhm.
DeSantis, I think, is going to be a serious runner-up. I really do think so. And I'm no expert in this field at all, but I just know DeSantis isn't what people think he is. Governor Nome isn't what people think he is. She is. They're not conservative. I'm telling you, we had Justin LaBar on, and what a great man he is. And I couldn't disagree with him more about Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump is the man. He is the man. Um, I love Rand Paul. I think Rand Paul would be a great president. Primarily, I really think he'd be a good vice president. But
Mhm.
there is nobody that can get more done than President Trump. And this is a guy that has leadership skills like no one else.
Yeah,
Um, so let's think about this. Let's just jump back for a moment.
sure.
The way I look at this is that we have a lot of Republicans that are conservatives, people I would say that are on our side of the Republican Party, that are saying, Donald Trump, I don't know, maybe someone better. Listen, you are being 100% manipulated by the media if you say that. I really do believe that. Donald Trump caused this and it needed to happen. Um, he's not a wild man like everyone thinks he is. He's actually not that person.
Hmm.
But the media, his brain, they have stamped and branded him in that concept, in that way. But he's not that person. He really isn't. So I really think that what they're trying to do, the Bill Gates crowd, is trying to give us a Republican because, this clown that we have now is such an utter disaster. We'll have a Republican that is a middle of the road, a Mitt Romney type Republican, but has the backing of Bill Gates from a small state. People think we're conservative. People have a lot of misconception about North Dakota, just like most of us think that Amish people are all happy and hunky dory. Well, that it's not true. Same holds true for North Dakota. Um, and so, hey, maybe this guy, and then think about this too, Shiloh. This is something I was thinking about, and I didn't express this in the video. President Trump, a lot of people voted for him because of his ability with business. But this governor of ours is techie and business. Techie.
Hmm.
We are in cyber wars. That's what we are in. We're in cyber war. So, I mean, it makes sense. I see what Bill Gates is trying to do by running him. I really do. I think unfortunately, I think he's going to make a great candidate for the rhinos. He really
Yeah,
will.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Uh, Now, if I'm reading this bill right that he just vetoed on the transgenders, did you hear this today or
I
yesterday?
did.
That
This
that
does not surprise me, though. I figured he would veto it. Could you go ahead?
just a second here. Let me get to it. I was just my wife and I were having this conversation, and she was saying, "Why would he veto it?" And I was like, "I think he vetoed it that it was good, but I don't." Just a second here. I had it up and now I lost it. So
Shiloh, if you get your stuff together.
I know. I'm sorry. Um, he also vetoed the 80-mile-an-hour speed limit bill.
I was wondering if he would do that actually,
Yeah.
um, because of his, zero death policy that he wanted.
Right.
Um, I suppose maybe 3, 4 nights ago, I was going to sleep and I was thinking, I bet he's going to veto that one because of that. And the governor's caucus is pretty heavy. A lot of people don't understand the different caucuses. You have the GOP caucus, you have the Democrat caucus, you have the NPL caucus, you have the Dairy Queen caucus, you have the Pizza caucus, you have the Bastiat caucus, several different the Bismarck Mafia caucus. But the biggest one is, and Democrats and Republicans alike are a part of it, is the governor's caucus. And that's where he basically gets people on the same page, and
Yep.
they go into the legislature. So he may be able to overturn some of these. I believe you need a 2/3 majority in either the House or Senate
Yeah.
to overturn a a veto. Somebody could correct us if we're wrong on that, but I believe it's 2/3 majority.
America. Senate Bill 2231 concerns pronouns, discriminatory practices, and school policies on express gender, according to North Dakota legislature. Oh man, I can't. I was looking for the article that I just read to my wife because it basically told us what would happen. Um, Shoot.
Hmm. Well, I guess moving
Basically,
on.
it said that they couldn't, that teachers couldn't call them by their pronouns that they preferred. That they had to call them by their
Yeah, by their approved by
assigned.
their
Yeah,
parent. Yeah. So basically, if I recall the bill correctly, I know which bill you're talking about now. It said that the teachers had to call them by an approved name, but which their parents call them. So you couldn't just say, call me, for example, my name is Luke. You couldn't call me Billy if I ask you to call me Billy, nor could you call me Sally. Is that correct? I believe that's how I read the
yeah,
bill. Yeah. And
yeah.
somebody could watch, somebody that's watching could say something,
Right.
some jump on. But yeah, I was a little surprised by that. I wasn't surprised. I just thought maybe because of his political stance, he wouldn't do that. He's been trying to play it pretty safe, and I know there's not a lot of cross gender people in North Dakota as a whole. So I thought it was kind of weird that he would take the super minority crowd over what his own party definitely is supporting.
Oh, right here. It's prohibit teachers and students from being required to use preferred pronouns. That's what Rick said. So just commented on here.
Rick,
Becker.
okay, okay,
Prohibited teachers and students from being required to use preferred pronouns.
sure.
So, is that a good thing then that he? No, it's not
No, no, no.
because the Senate, I guess, overturned that veto I just read too today
Well,
on the
good.
30th. So,
That's good. That's really good. But it
yeah,
lets you know where the governor stands on some things.
right.
Uh, it really does. And actually, Rick is an interesting person to talk to on this position. Um, and he has some interesting. He would be a guest, Shilo, that you would want on this subject because he has a unique way of looking at some of this. Um, he really does. And I'll say this too. I don't like that the state government is telling schools what to do. I don't like that. I think it should be local control on many different things. However, the state does need to stand up for some things too, so that the schools have something to push on. So I mean, it's debatable. There's a lot of good conversation there.
Yeah. No, I would totally agree. Uh, so what do you think on the speed limit bill, the veto? I know we kind of just talked a little bit about it, but I don't
Well,
know. I
Doug,
think people are going to drive as fast as they want to anyway. I mean, if you raise it to 80, they're probably going to go to 85. It's just
well,
everybody's.
what
Go
I
ahead.
think the governor is basing this off of. I don't think it's like the Green New Deal thing where saving fuel economy because there's really not
Right.
much of a difference between 80 and 75. A lot of people are going to 80 anyways. Um, but this is the way I look at this. My folks have been to Germany many times. Excuse me, that's not true. they have been to Germany once, but I know many people that have been to Germany. There you go. Um, the Autobahn is about the same as our interstate. It's nothing special. And these people are going 200 miles an hour. Now, I'm not saying that we should be going 200 miles an hour or 300 miles an hour or 150 miles an hour. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is our, as a whole, North Dakota is long stretches of road, and they're set up really nice. It's nicer than the Autobahn in several different places. So, I mean, our roads, these cars are going 80, no problem. Yeah, and they're made to cruise. When I was in Texas, 90, I was keeping up with traffic. So I guess I'm not really all tied into that. I don't think it's a big deal. But I think the governor is looking at it from a safety standpoint. I mean, the Autobahn, when these people will flash you, you have to be a good driver to drive on the Autobahn.
Yeah.
You don't just jump on there at 90 years old. When they get into an accident, it's someone's dead. They send out the morgue. They don't send out an ambulance. So I get it. There's legitimate concern there. I voted yes on the 80-mile-an-hour bill because I'd be hypocritic not to, because I'm going 80 anyways. I really am. Um, One of the things that really cracked me up is a guy stood up to oppose a legislator, and he said, hey, this is not right. This is wrong. And he goes, I mean, I always go 80, but I'm voting against it. I'm like, well, that's silly. That's being hypocritic.
Right.
You're a hypocrite. So,
True enough. So I think we probably could switch gears a little bit here, and it's been about what going on 3 years that I met you in Williston at that rally, or I guess it was a reorg. It's kind of been my real
yeah.
first taste of politics, and I, looking back then and looking to now, I guess I didn't never thought I'd be become as close a friend to you as we have, and we've started the show and did some things, and it's been kind of fun. And so, with that
And
being
that's
said,
and my
go ahead.
parents always told me, be careful before you feed a stray cat, because you sometimes will have a spare cat around. And kind of what happened there. I thought I'd be nice to this cowboy guy that didn't look like he had any friends, and by golly, I haven't been able to shake you ever since, pretty much.
Shows up to your branding in a rodeo trailer and pulls a pony out, right?
Yeah, he literally does pull a pony out, and you're not a real tall man, and you made the pony look really small. So yeah, it was interesting.
uh, well, I guess where we're going with this, folks, is Luke has some other how do you want to say it, Luke? Some other interests that he's going after right now, and so he's going to be leaving the show.
I am, yes.
And so,
Today will be my last show. I may appear on occasionally as a special guest. Shilo is not actually real knowing which direction he's going to go with the show. Um, I had suggested a few people that I thought would be great host and co-hosts or whatnot. Um, I don't know if you're reaching out to people yet, not, but I am busy. Let's see here. My only night off a week is Monday nights, and occasionally I get a Friday night off or a Saturday.
yeah,
And I just decided I'm too busy, and so I'm part of life is saying no to things, and uh, you know, people that are productive members of our society know how to say no, and they also know how to stop doing what they need to do. So that's what I decided to do. It was a hard decision, but it was just something I needed to do. So
yep. And so with that, yes, I do not know. I've got some things in the works. I don't know yet I do believe what I'm going to do is I am going to take some time off until after Easter, and then I will be making some announcements on the route that I have decided, because I do have some other opportunities as well. And so I need to weigh those out. Um, and we'll see how that goes. So, but I am in talks with other people as far as hosts and different things. So we will see how that goes. So, with that being said,
Well, also, I just wanted to point out to you, if you want to be politically correct these days, your host should be a woman, or better yet, a black woman, or an Aborigines person or something, just because that's what, that's the standard to do now. You don't
right,
pick somebody if they're qualified, you pick them because they are a minority.
right.
So I would look for honestly, if I were you, I would look for an Aborigines female midget, and there you go. That's my professional advice to you, and then you could be just as great as great could be.
It's a good thing that number one, I'm not politically correct. Number two, I don't have a whole lot of experience at this. I just thought it, like I've always said, it's two guys who got together and we're having some fun with it. And so,
You
but
know, I
I will take your, uh,
freely given advice. And
yeah,
actually, I would add on to that too for you, Shiloh. I would say that maybe it should be a Aborigines midget uh, person, male that identifies as a female, and that would even be more qualified for you, probably.
I
And I want to
guess.
say that with a straight face.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
just remember whose shoes they have to fill. So, do you want to rethink that?
Oh no, I think they would qualify just fine.
Shoot. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to get a reaction, am I?
No, no. So I'm, yeah, but
Well, I have to say this,
real.
Luke. It's been fun. You know, I've enjoyed this. We've been able to do some things. I think we do have people watching, and the message is getting out. So I want to thank you for doing this with me and giving me a chance. And you know, so like I said, it was just two guys having fun at first, and you know, we took it. I think we took it pretty far. So,
Well,
but
like I always said, if it, nothing else, people could use it to for sleep
fall asleep.
apnea, then that's what I would think. But I consider myself kind of a boring person, so why anybody would watch what I would say is
Well,
that's really how I feel. When you compare me to like Rick Becker, I'm thinking to myself, I'm principled, but I mean, I'm not a genius.
yeah.
And someone like him, I mean, I've served with so many great people in the legislature that are very smart individuals. And to me, I'm just a talker. I like to start fights and and win. That's what I like to do. That's what I do.
Mhm.
That's what I've done all my life. Is just my name Luke simply means the light and trailblazer. That's what it means. And I just want to be the light, and I want to trail blaze as much as I can blaze in my life. And this whole, you want to talk about something interesting real quick?
Sure.
So in my barber shop, I get a lot of foreigners, and I know Elsie, and
I'll
a number,
see.
yeah, a couple different people. But this is really interesting to me. Two things that foreigners that aren't born to our country say when I ask them, "What do you think of our country?" And they know I'm pretty awake, spirit, like historically.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they say. One, they're appalled with our school systems, how dumb the children are, and they believe it's on purpose. And I agree. They are
Yeah.
dumbed down, and they said that their school systems go try to achieve and help the highest standard of the child, And then the other kids are graded off of those kids. And our schools are graded off the dumbest kid in the school. And that's true. There is no debating that. Christine Baszler will tell you the exact same thing. It's very unfortunate. Our kids, I mean, just ask them how many oceans there are and then name them to ask. Just ask them to name 5 of the 7. Just go ahead because they won't be able to do it. Meanwhile, in Africa, all these other kids, they can tell you every seaport into their country. They can tell you their president's name, the vice president's name. They can tell you how many providences are in their country, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They can tell you the name of every country on their continent. Most of them can tell you the name of every country in the world. They know American politics. I mean, this is amazing. Okay, and they are literally going to schools that are tin roofs. That's it, with maybe like open sides or something. That's one. 2, they all say this, and I'm tying this into what I said earlier. They're shocked on how easily offended us Americans are. We are the most easily offended people that they've ever met. I was just talking to Dale Jones, who is a very, very smart man. He's a minister, and he lives in Minnesota. And there's a German lady that took over a coffee shop in Minnesota, very happening little coffee shop. And she told Dale Jones, "I think a lot of my customers aren't coming back because I must be offending them." He goes, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, they will say something, and I will say, that's not true. Did you not watch world news?" And she's not a Republican. She's not a Democrat. She doesn't like either one. But she's very, very clear thinking. And so when people have these conversations with her, she will just reciprocate the conversation and have real conversation. Now, something, Shilo, that a lot of people, I mean, we all say everybody's offended these days, but you don't like to think that you're easily offended. I don't like to think that I'm easily offended. But the truth is if your neighbor is easily offended, there's a 99.9% chance that you're easily offended as well. Because the outside temperature affects the inside temperature of your home, just like you are affected by your surroundings. It's a fact. So, saying that, they said, and I've had several people from South Africa, which are white as white can be, all over the place, Germans and Africans and all over the place, come into my barbershop, and they all say, "You Americans don't know how to have real conversations, and you all are very easily offended, and you cannot be told you're wrong about anything. You cannot be corrected." That's scary, Shilo. That's very, very scary grounds that we are on, because we think more highly than we ought to of ourselves.
Yep.
Fact. And those are I've been running those statistics, those polls on every foreigner in my barbershop after their second or third haircut. I asked them those two or I just asked them, what's the most odd or scary thing about us? Those two things are the most common denominator of all. Mm-hmm. Americans, you can't correct them. There is no correcting them. They don't know how to have deep, serious conversation without being upset or taking things personal. That you can't poke fun at them. You can't joke around about them without them like being really intimate with them, which is very scary. And it's the reason why people can't keep jobs. It's the reason why people can't get along with their neighbors. This is ongoing. This is very ongoing. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I have to say, I think I'm guilty of it too. I think I am guilty of it too. I'm not trying to look down at anybody. I'm not looking my nose down at anybody. I think I learned a lot from that conversation. So
I agree. Yep.
What kind of toothpick are you using?
This one is the tea tree therapy. This one is mint. You got mint and I got cinnamon.
Which one do you like more?
I like the cinnamon ones.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think my mom made cinnamon toothpicks one time. I always
Yeah.
wanted to try it. Wouldn't be hard to do, I wouldn't think. I'm
They
gonna
must
make it.
just soak them in some kind of
Yeah.
solution, I imagine. So,
You know what, Chilo? I think I'll make you a batch of Tabasco ones sometime.
oh,
I
gee,
think
thank you. You're
just
so
kind
kind.
of just came to me just now. I think that's what I'll do.
You're
You know,
so
yeah. I was thinking of you.
kind.
That would put a little more facial hair on you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I hear you.
Well, it is 7:30, and I'm running out of things to talk about.
8:30. So,
No, that's flatlander time. We're talking man time.
yeah, man time.
Man time. Yeah, there's a reason you come on up here all the time. You know. You know.
Actually, I go down there.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, the closer you get to Canada, the more liberal they get for the most part. You know full well that we live in God's country. I live in God's country. North Dakota is as flat as a pancake. And you get to our country, and here we are.
Yeah.
We are the most conservative area in all of North Dakota.
Well, that could be disputed, but we'll
Well,
just roll with it. I mean,
when I
the
was in the
people you got in
legislature,
charge of your districts, I don't know. They're not very
well,
conservative.
I don't know. I mean, I've never seen the way they vote, um, the people that are in charge of our districts, but I do see who they prop up, and I do see how those people vote, and
Yeah.
that's what makes me realize that there might not be as conservative as I like.
Right.
One of those people actually was pretty offended. I was going to the restroom, and he was there, and he told me that he was like, "How, Luke? I'm offended because how do you know I'm not conservative?" And I mean, I was just like, by the people you support. That's how I know. That's how simple. Because the people he supports does not vote conservative. And
Right.
it was a man, by the way, because we were in the same restroom together. So
Well, thanks for that tidbit.
yes, no problem. Well, Shiloh, I am going to sign off for the night and be happy to be asked on as a co-host or a guest sometime.
Sounds
But
good, my friend.
we will talk to you later, Shiloh.
You bet. And that's a wrap. We'll